Hi, it's morning still, almost noon here in Las Vegas, and I decided I just came back from my orthopedic surgeon appointment, which was for a follow-up for December surgery, and it occurred to me that with the healthcare debate going on here in the United States, that some of the anxiety that those of us with, especially just in general, but especially those of us with long-term and or chronic conditions face in this country, I felt like, hey, this needs to be talked about more openly. I don't feel like people should be ashamed of talking about the cost of their care. I feel like that's actually, I think everybody pretty much knows, well, I got light going on here. Okay, anyway, everybody pretty much knows that, there we go, that it's expensive here in the United States because we don't have tax subsidized healthcare. And I always think it's really painful when I have to listen to able-bodied people be like, hey, so yeah, well, if you get socialized medicine, you're going to be sitting there waiting to see a specialist for months. And I'm like, what kind of specialist have you ever gone to see? Because that's kind of normal already, even for quite a few people with a lot of different health conditions, and it takes time to see a specialist. So whenever I have to hear stupid ass like that on the television, I'm just kind of like, wow, okay, so first of all, what position of privilege do you have that it normally doesn't take that long for you? And secondly, you probably have never experienced that, or you would know that it takes longer to see a specialist, even if you pay through the nose for it in this country. So I'm going to do what is, I'm calling a, okay, just, this is hilarious because this light keeps coming through because the desert's like, let me shed light on this subject. And I'm like, that's cool, but we're not like doing, ah, kind of thing. So I'm gonna move it. Here we are. So I have one of my bills here. I've had to pay a few others already. One of them was $200, but that was actually not for surgery. That was just for me peeing and it being a drug test. And even though it was covered by my insurance, it would have been $2,000, potentially. But they were nice and gave me credit to work it down to only $200. So again, that was for toxicology before I even got surgery, to just check and make sure I wasn't abusing drugs or anything. So let that sink in. I had to potentially pay $2,000 to pee in a cup and get drug tested. But it's okay because they worked it down to $200, which not to say that I'm not grateful. I'm really grateful because I would have been screwed. I needed that few other to be able to put it into payment plans for the rest of these bills. I've already paid one of my surgeons in payments, and now I'm having the vascular surgeon stuff and the hospital bill itself. So, and keep in mind, in the state of Nevada, you get a health insurance plan if you're in the private. You can, if it's private, but it's like over $400 a month for me, and I'm not even 30 yet. So it's like, it was $444 a month with eye, though, which with vision, which in California I didn't even have vision, and I was paying up to $560 something a month for health insurance on a PPO plan. And this one's an EPO. They actually don't have PPOs for people to independently buy if they're in my age group and in my situation, and it's not through their workplace right now. So the state of Nevada really only has two people you can get EPOs from. They're different companies, and really hoping that changes in this state soon, because that's really not cool. Because it's almost like those two companies just have a monopoly on the market in a way that is, I'm not going to go there. It's different to me, I think, if it's government, because there's certain kinds of things that may go on with government oversight, maybe, that definitely aren't going on, I don't think, as much with private health insurance companies. Not to say that I'm ungrateful for their presence. Without them, I would still be crippled today. And please note that I am very well aware that it takes an incredible amount of privilege to have a private health insurance policy in this country to begin with. That is not lost on me. It really isn't. Even though I've had to go into debt basically sometimes just to have that and then pay it off later. And sometimes it's been pretty close. So here's to hoping we can all find jobs that either have private health insurance or eventually our government wakes up and realizes that killing their own people is kind of a really shit idea. Not like they really need us in the long run anyway with AI and automation, but that's not just an issue in the United States. That's a global issue. Moving on. This thing is my bill from one of my surgeons, and I'm doing a health bill reveal. Instead of an unboxing, this is a health bill reveal, okay? So I want to be like, hashtag health bill reveal, because I don't feel like people should be made to be ashamed of the cost of their care. Because that's basically, it's so dumb, like all the people being like, oh, self-care is so important. I'm like, yeah, what if your self-care isn't productive in a way to the economy that you need, that you may personally even want it to be? What if your self-care is legit like just not dying or being able to, you know, rest enough that you can kind of walk for part of your day, which is the second one, where I only was getting 4 hours of productivity out of my day, which went to graduate work, was where I was at right before I had spinal fusion. My second spinal fusion, scoliosis patients, hello. Oh my goodness. Can I say that's too good to be true? Wow. Maybe paying $460 something a month now because they upped it from $444 is worth it in Nevada. Because I can almost guarantee you in California, my bill with Blue Shield would have been so much higher. So much higher. I'm only having to pay I'm sorry, I'm just like in disbelief right now. I was gonna grab my phone and take a photo of it, but I can't, so I don't want you to see who the practitioner is, because that's not cool, because they've been pretty nice to me. Okay. I pay only $208. Only $208 for my vascular surgeon, because he was there for when I had a second spinal fusion that was anterior and posterior, which in layman's terms is frontal and front incision and back incision, because my disc in my spine was in such a way that they had to really get in there in different ways to try and take a look at it. I am just... Okay, the rest of you may not believe in God, but I do. I'm not going to get into particulars of how I think God exists, but I do believe in God. And oh my gosh, thank you, Lord. Thank you. I was so scared. Okay, so this doesn't count my hospital bill, which is the one that I'm really afraid of, but that one actually may end up being less than I thought anyway, because it was only, it was like, I think I was supposed to stay in there 4 or 5 days, and I think I was only in there 3, and they discharged me early. So, and that's, again, roughly, I can't remember. I was really drugged up at the time, so I'm going to have to look back. I am so relieved right now. I just can't even begin to tell you. Like I said, I originally came from Northern California in the Modesto area, Central Valley. Anyway, so like that's just, I'm blown out of the water right now, because this could have been over $1,000, and it's only $208, which is still $208. Like, don't get me wrong, even for me, I'm still kind of like, $208. Oh, but I'm really happy. So in California, what I noticed was my MRIs in California were so much more expensive, like ridiculously more expensive. And here, don't get me wrong, even with insurance, my MRIs were still pretty dang expensive. I had to do payment plans for them, right? Just like before, but it was still much better. Oh my God. So apparently, so far at least, it seems like my health insurance, even though I pay a lot of out of pocket a month, I mean, they're covering a lot right now. And again, I kind of feel like if I was still in California, because the MRI example, and then this, I'm like, I think I might have been paying way more had I stayed. So I mean, one of the main reasons my family moved was for economic and fiscal survival, because the cost of living in California is really not friendly to people who are on a fixed income. So like my parents who are retired, who have health issues, right, because they're aging. And then people like me who are younger, and I didn't know, nobody knew what the outcome of my spine was going to be. Even post-surgery, I'm doing really well. So grateful. But I didn't know. Like people think that, oh, you're going to go in for surgery, everything's going to be fine when you come out. Not always. Everybody's a little bit different, right? So, I mean, for instance, my first spinal fusion, which was much larger, it was it was the total of my spine, took well over 6 months to heal to like a year. And then it still was growing bone, so even longer than that. So yeah, this health bill reveal ended up being a lot less horrifying than I thought it was going to be, and I'm very relieved. But I still think it's important to raise awareness that there are different types of ways people pay for health insurance and the bills that come with them, their out-of-pockets and all that, and that in my previous state, this probably would have been a lot higher. And here, it somehow keeps coming out to less than I expect here in Nevada. So, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and probably make a follow-up video to this one where I finally look at the hospital bill. But until then, yeah, I encourage other people to do a health bill reveal as they feel comfortable and able. For me, personally, this isn't about shaming my healthcare provider. This is more about raising awareness that what kind of things different people need to go through. That they go through, not need to, God, nobody needs to, but like that they go through in order to have the care that they actually need. Yeah. Like, for instance, I couldn't afford physical therapy, so I've just been kind of doing it on my own, which I do not in any way endorse. Do not. But that's what I had to do post-surgery because I couldn't afford physical therapy. Oh, I think one of my neighbors just got home from shift and my dog is like, neighbor! So, yeah. And also, I have a background in complementary and alternative medicine and stuff like that. Like, I went to trade school for it. So when it comes to anatomy, when it comes to reflexology, when it comes to different things that are meant to help you, especially if you're trying to recoup post-workout or just in general, I have more of training with that. I even had my massage therapy license in California. So I have some training with that. If you don't, do your physical therapy, please. Please, if you can, do it. It's really important. If I had had the money, I would have gone in a heartbeat. Okay? So I don't endorse not going. I endorse going. Okay? Yeah, I'll update if there's more. Love you. Take care as you're able. I just got back from Kingman, which is my dad's hometown in Arizona, and it was a very windy day, like it normally is out there, because hey, it's the desert and there's nothing to stop the wind. I actually logged on and checked the health portal, where I was supposed to have a bill, but it had this weird message instead, kind of like, just a reminder that you can da-da-da-da-da, like an automated thing. And I was kind of like, okay, so I guess my bill for the hospital stay isn't ready yet. Probably to preserve my own sanity, I'm going to go ahead and call them and just make sure that I wasn't supposed to have something else in there. Part of me is like, no, Kelly, just leave it alone. If they really need it from you, they'll send you it in the post, which they should, or they'll send it through that, which, as far as I can tell right now, I'm not seeing it anywhere, so I don't know where it is. And I know also that sometimes when you have more complicated surgeries, which this one was fairly complex, and how it was executed, it could take months for them to process that. And in fact, I called them before in January, because I was curious about that. Yeah, so I guess I'll just have to wait and see what they say. I'm not really sure. There we go, I was trying to get better light. I'm not really sure what to do, to be honest. I guess I should just wait. Just be like, if my anxiety strikes, I can call them. Yeah. A few other things, because I did my health bill reveal earlier. Please note that it would have cost over $1,000 had I not had health insurance, and that my hospital stay estimated on my health insurance policy, kind of like the different things you can look at being processed. If you didn't have health insurance and you were getting a spinal fusion similar to the one that I had done, it would be all those things that I paid with my orthopedic surgeon, the vascular surgeon, so it would have been like a few $1,000s with him. It would have been almost $2,000 for the other surgeon, and then it would have been, if you didn't have health insurance, it would be over $230,000 to stay at the hospital. Over $230,000 to stay at the hospital. Okay, so I wanted to say that because a lot of people think that, oh, spinal fusion, only people with spinal deformities get that. Oh, no, they don't. There are people who get injured really severely, and they have to get spinal fusion done, and you could suddenly find yourself out over 200, 300, 400 grand, like that. Okay, and I know a lot of people do have what they term like the catastrophic health insurance, which is in case of emergencies to cover things like that, which is what a lot of people my age have because they don't have other health issues, so they don't have to worry about being able to go and see a specialist, go and get MRIs done, go and get toxicology done, go and do bracing, and get braces fitted for your back or all that kind of, they don't have to worry about that. So they can get away with having the catastrophic health insurance, which I can't. And these are also similar to a lot of the plans they have on university campuses here in the United States that are available for purchase. So just keep in mind, I don't know what that would come out to if you had that kind of health insurance, because catastrophic health insurance and how they divvy up the cost is different. But what I do know is that if you didn't have it any at all, you would easily be looking at over over $200,000 if you had an accident or you needed spinal fusion. So, medical care in the United States. If you come visit us, please don't visit our hospitals, because just don't. If you do visit us, I'm sure there's some kind of travel insurance that has health insurance that you could get, and that would be really smart. I don't know what they're called or anything like that, but you should talk to somebody who's an expert in that for foreign travel before you come here, okay? Because that would be really important, because this is definitely a country where you'd need it, okay? And also just like, it's a safety thing, right, when you travel. So that's kind of on the tourist side of things. Speaking of, again, our trip to Kingman was great. I don't know if I'll post the video from that. There wasn't much. I took some photos. There was still some snow on the ground in Kingman, Arizona. And we spent time at the Beale Street Cafe, and it was really cool. We forgot to ask them when their farmers market started, or when, what do they call it? It's like, anyway, it's like a classic car thing they have on Beale Street in Kingman, and it's so cool. Like, we went last summer, like, I almost melted to the sidewalk, but it was totally worth it. And I can see that their arts program, and I think their artist in residence program is still a thing down there on Beale as well. And I think one of their bookstores closed, but I think they still have at least 2 used bookstores. Me being the nerdy person, I'm like, these coffee houses here, the bookstores are here, the art is over here, and yay! So we also went by Bank Street Guns because my father is into target shooting and wants to eventually do it like for fun, but also competitively in the Single Action Shooter Society, which is a Western reenactment group. I'm actually interested in joining it myself. I got a lot of, I was actually a fair bit of training when I was younger, when I was briefly part of scouts for this one trip, and that's how I got my basic, it feels so weird saying this because I'm such a hippie, but it's like, yes, okay, I have my basic handgun qualifications, so, yeah. I always joke, it's kind of like, the phrase gun-toting hippie, because I have, like, socialist leanings, and I'm very, like, I'm queer, right, and stuff, so it's just weird. It's weird to talk about as a person from those groups, But yeah, I've grown up around things like that, so that's just kind of part of life for me. So that was nice. It was fun. That particular store actually has a resident dog, and their last resident dog passed away after Christmas. It had bone cancer, so it had like one leg that had to go, and it was on its 3 legs the last time I saw it, and then I guess its cancer came back, so it passed away. We have a new boxer in residence, and he's bundle of energy, still a puppy, so I think it's a he. I didn't look closely. Anyway, he's a sweet dog. And yeah, if you're ever like in town, check out Kingman. They have a few museums. My dad actually needs to fill out some information because our family used to have a service station out there, where a lot of the service stations are now, actually, between Kingman and Las Vegas. So we need to get some of our own family history into that museum because they were there from the 1940s on. So neat stuff. Good relaxing time at Beale Street Cafe. Good coffee. Good times. It is windy, as the desert normally is, and we're on our way to Kingman for the day. The family decided to take an outing. We stopped to look at this beautiful water. The landscape is still pretty clear because we had rain.